Business stories from around the region now. Chris Fletcher's here from the Greater Manchester Chamber of Commerce. Welcome.
Good afternoon.
Depressing news if you want to sell your house, if you're going on to a second-time buyer, because apparently there are fewer first-time buyers in the market.
Yeah, the figures that have just recently been released saying that instead of 40% of people are first-time buyers for the transactions coming up over the next 12 months, apparently that figure's down to 25%. Which is indicative. I think there's a couple of issues there. I think number one is the tightening of the availability of mortgages. We've gone from the 120% mortgages and all the rest of it that landed us in the mess in the first place, to where now lenders are asking for bigger deposits. People aren't saving as much money. And I also think there's an element of job confidence as well around that. People are still wary about making those sort of long-term commitments while the job market is still like it is and while the economy is like it is.
But they are essential to the whole chain process. I mean, the chain has to have a beginning, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And if that initial catalyst of those first-time buyers is taken out of it, then the whole thing's just going to continue to crunch its way through, and we're not really going to see that pick-up anytime soon, really. Although,
mate, you should say possibly. It's probably no bad thing that mortgage lenders are being a bit more careful to whom they give their money. Better news in retail. Shoppers have returned after the deep freeze.
Yeah, apparently everyone's thawed out, and now we're back at the shops again. Quite interesting, because the British Retail Consortium just released the figures, and up for the last month, retail sales are up 2.2%, but they're starting from a very low figure. And in some items, things are still struggling. And I think part of that can be relayed back to the increase in the VAT and all the rest of it. So the big ticket stuff is still struggling to go through. Food sales and indeed sales of warm clothing are up as well. Which is no surprise, really, but
yes,
there you go.
Given the weather conditions we've just experienced. Let's talk about business leaders in our region, and they're urging the Chancellor what he might say in his last budget before the next general election. What do people in our region want him to say, Chris?
Well, I think it's a case of just leave businesses a bit alone for now. There's got to be some public spending cuts. There's got to be increasing taxation, but it's exactly where and how those increases, etc., are actually played out. One of the things we've seen and one of the things we're campaigning on from the Chamber is around the increase in national insurance contribution. That's going up by an extra 1% next year. That's taking money out of the system. That's money that could be used to invest in businesses. It's almost a tax on jobs, really. So it's things like that we're campaigning on, and we're getting our message into the Chancellor to say, just be careful with this. We recognise the deficit's got to be repaid, but it's how he does it in a sensible manner that enables that growth to continue.
Access to finance has been highlighted as well, because many small and medium-term businesses can't get access to finance. And I read about applied language solutions in Delft doing very well. What by virtue of investment by the Capital for Enterprise Fund?
This was set up, I think, 12 months ago as part of either the pre-budget report or the budget last year by the government to help businesses access money. As obviously, there were issues in banks getting the money out there, and it's been designed primarily to help small and medium-sized businesses get hold of finance to enable them to grow, to recruit. And in this particular case, with ALS, they're looking at opening up, overseas branches, recruiting more people and everything. So a real good success story. The money is available out there. Sometimes you've got to look very, very hard for it, and it's no certain or no guarantee on it. But there are things like this that the government's put in place which will help businesses get through what we have been through in the last 18 months to 2 years. OK,
thank you, Chris. If you're in a small or medium-term business and you're looking for money, investigate the Capital for Enterprise Fund. That's the business done. To Natalie now, who has more of your sport.